In the foreground, there's a photo portrait of Ana Mendieta in a red turtleneck, black hair pulled back, hoop earrings, and a fake mustache. She's coolly looking straight into the camera. The framed photo is on a small table surrounded by flowers, an altar. In the background is a recital hall, a small stage with a black curtain, a blonde wood stage apron leading out to a wood floor, all surrounded by balconies. Tess sits on a bar stool with its back against the apron. That's me. I'm Tess. An empty bar stool beside her. There are stairs to the stage between the chairs. Tess is a white person with chin-length dark brown hair. She's wearing a short-sleeve cotton button-up shirt with white and blue stripes and navy pajama pants with white pinstripes. John is a Latinx masculine-presenting person with chin-length black curly hair, a goatee, and dark features. He's wearing a white button-up shirt tucked into black Puma basketball shorts with white stripes on the sides. I sit on the stage alone. I'll soon be joined by Maria Gutierrez. We'll lip-sync to a conversation we had on December 15th, 2020, and we'll eventually start to enact different torso behaviors. This is a conversation between me and it's a conversation about Carl Andre, who he actually pronounces his name Carl Andre. We'll use Andre or Andre, but okay, I'll try to use Andre. So it's a conversation about Carl Andre and his relationship with Ana Mendieta, who was another artist. Carl Andre is an artist. I think it was in September of 1984. Carl Andre and Ana Mendieta were married. They got in a fight. A lot of people know about this. They got in a fight. They were drinking. Ana fell out of the window of their apartment and fell to her death. Carl Andre was tried for second-degree murder for pushing her. He claims he did not, that she fell, that she climbed out and she fell. And he was acquitted. So we're having a conversation based out of that whole event, and also just these two artists' lives. And I also just want to say that I tried to find the court records for this case, and I couldn't find them because they don't exist. They're not public record because apparently if someone is acquitted, then for a trial, then they're It's like the trial never happened. You can't find it. And it probably exists somewhere, but I just couldn't get access to it. And therefore, all of the research that I'm doing about this incident and these people is all based out of like the stories that I've heard people say and conversations that I've had with numerous people and op-eds I've read and articles and interviews. So it's all a lot of stuff that sort of revolves around the thing, but it seems like I can't get my hands on the original source of like what was said in that courtroom. What did Carl Andre say? Okay. Andre, without further ado, I'd like to introduce my guest for this evening, for this conversation, John Maria Gutierrez. Welcome.
Hola, hola. Hello. Here I am.
Here you are. So, well, I sent you some links. Mm-hmm. And I'm wondering about, like, there were videos and some articles, and I'm wondering if you, did you check them out? Or did you do any Googling?
I kept thinking, like, how do I want to do this? And I had no idea what the dude looked like, so I was like, maybe I should check out these videos, because, you know, with your blurbs, it was nice to know what I was getting into. So I listened to him speak, Carl Andre, which that's funky to me. I mean, listening to Carl talk, I was kind of like, this dude looks like Papa Smurf a little bit, or like he's either like the dude who like runs the Keebler Elves. Mm-hmm. And just with the calm that he had, I was like, this is, I don't know, there's like a menacing, I'm just like, what world does he live in? Like, mm-hmm. It's just these two people, like this guy in the world is like, he was like this artist and he was influenced by these other artists, and he was like giving names and he couldn't really give dates and he couldn't really give a lot of details. And it reminded me of the first conversation we had too, that it's like without the trial information, it's like, what can we actually put together? And so it feels kind of like I'm filling in the blanks from my own kind of artistic experience of like what that would be like, and knowing those kinds of couples that aren't like really right for each other, and that like shit's gonna hit the fan at some point and you just hope that it's not super bad. Yeah, and it became about that. It almost became like a conversation around the art world itself. And mm-hmm. I think I'm really struck by something you said before. It's like that this dude gets to keep his work, and a little bit of what I've heard about Anna's work. She's so much more the interesting artist to me. And it's like they are kind of, in a way, like polar opposites mm-hmm. of the art world. It's like, I feel like one is saying, like, look at how interesting life is, and like, look at how beautiful life could be, even in like the darkness of it, or even in like the danger, gross, you know, like rawness of it. Mm-hmm. And here's this other guy that's like, the least artistic looking thing mm-hmm. is the art. As a Latino, Latinx person too, I'm like, here's this Cuban-American or this Cuban artist who comes to America, and it feels a little bit like part of a history for me of that too, of like this incident robbed us as mm-hmm. a scene of a person, mm-hmm. Of an artist, of like a creative mind and creative kind of raw, wild spirit. And I'm still like talking about this white dude, you know, like, yeah. I'm just like, that's so fucked up too.
Like, I don't know that I would have known about her. The way that I found out about her was through him.
How did you hear about this, or where did you hear about? Because I know for me it was like Sandra Ibarra wearing the like Where's Anna shirt.
Right, yeah.
And it being like such a cool shirt, and like Sandra being such a dope artist, that it's like, you know, it's like almost everything she does has some kind of color. And I think watching her, I'm just like, oh my God, she's like this diosa, like this goddess of creativity.
Yeah.
And so hearing from her, she's like, oh, it's about this, you know, it's like, this is where Anna thing, my friend makes the shirts, and like, you know, and her kind of explaining it, and not really well either, you know, but just, but that association too, that it's like I heard about her first, and I heard about it through art. Like this shirt was like an artistic expression, bringing into the spotlight this thing that happened, this like unresolved incident that is like resolved in the courts, but like obviously it still has strings that are loose.
John leaves his chair dramatically. Yeah, I mean, the way that I found out about it was by going to Dia Beacon for the first time maybe 6 years ago or something. Have you ever been to Dia Beacon?
No. What is that?
It's this museum upstate in Beacon. They have like a permanent collection that's all these like postmodern people like Dan Flavin, God, of course I can't remember any of them. The big, Solowit and, Richard, Sarah. Like these big, like, iconic, like minimalist, postmodern kind of, like from a particular time. And then, like, there are some Agnes Martin pieces there, but they're like in a corner. And then there's like the basement is for Louise Bourgeois, who she was like so it's like the two females are like kind of like shoved away into anyway. But so there's this permanent collection. It is a fun place to go to. I would recommend going there. It's yeah. John turns to Tess.
Is it like a postmodernist pilgrimage?
He sits down. Warehouse-y kind of, but like white box gallery. And I feel like there's like no information like written anywhere or something.
Oh wow.
So it's
that's why you can't remember the name.
I know it's great. It's a great experience. But anyway, the first time I went there, and then there was like a Carl Andre piece that was like the rotating exhibition. Wooden bricks on the floor, and then some tiles somewhere, some steel tiles. But yeah, I remember a lot of wooden bricks on the floor. Tess's decaying body moves away from chair. Classic. And, I saw it, and I remember talking to a friend about it, and she told me, that guy, like, killed his wife in the 80s. And I was like...
What guy?
The wooden brick guy killed his wife? I was like, that's so weird that I just saw this show, and there's just... I don't have any, like, I would, that's, yeah. That I didn't know that. That's great.
I mean, even in my head, I'm trying to, like, make, like, a joke about it.
Yeah.
And, like, there's something so ironic about that, and then I also feel a little, like, dirty, like, I feel wrong.
Yeah.
But it's just, like, I don't know, and I'm like, is that, like, an artistic thing of, I'm trying to find, like, a reason why this doesn't make sense, or like I'm just like, how can somebody just do that?
Yeah.
And then their work not reflect something about it? Because also when he talks, it seems like he's making sense of his art through his life, or he's making sense of life through his art somehow. It's like there's this relationship to it.
John freezes for a moment, then melts back to a healthy temperature.
And so I'm just like, that night, and like what happened in that room, and those conversations that he had with this other artist, like that's kind of just woven into his artistry as well, and so like, do you just remove it from your pieces? And and I don't know, I think I struggle with that too, of like with the postmodernist kind of look on things. It's like, it's pedestrian, and it doesn't mean anything, and that's kind of like the point of it. But I'm also like, if it didn't mean anything, then people wouldn't care about it. And so it's just like things do have some kind of meaning.
John storms across the space. If I can start to kind of see his behavior in his art and see the reason why he did it in his art or something.
Yeah.
Or in minimalism. So that's the one case that I'm trying to make. Or Tess falls to the floor.
And I think even in our initial conversations, I think I said, like, well, what I'm interested in is that you're interested in this. You know, it's like there's a way where I was like, I'm not even interested in it so much for myself.
Yeah.
It's like, but I do feel, you know, it's like even just through the materials that you send or thinking about our coming together in this way, I do feel a little bit of unraveling of myself, like within all this. Like I think I'm like, is it even right to be doing this?
I know. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And to who? What does that even mean?
Yeah. I don't know. I think it's worth it. I guess it's just like, it's making me kind of scared, I guess, which is...
Of what?
Tess lies on the floor motionless, waiting out a stomachache. When I'm in a situation where I'm like, oh, did my, like, sort of white ignorance did I just embarrass myself as a white person in that situation? Or I'm like, am I interested in this for some, like, fucked up reasons? And am I, like, ignorant to something it might be showing? Sort of being, like, found out. It's like an ignorant dummy.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because in this instance, it's like, do you then, like, expose yourself? Are you, like, you know?
Yeah. Tess crosses the space. They address each other at a distance.
I don't know. I mean, I'm like, I don't have the answer to that one. Sorry, but like, but I think that it's meaningful to me, or I think it feels really kind of tender to me in this moment that you could ask a question like that. Like, I think even just thinking of, like, this white dude, Carl, you know, like, I'm like, is that a question he would ever ask?
They reconvene at their chairs. Just reading this interview with him in 1978, which was before they were married and before she died, he really gets into the sort of specifics behind his notions of value and labor of art. And
what are those?
Well, I can't really summarize them because maybe I don't really remember. But I've been, like, copying the certain parts of it and pasting it. I really identify with what he says sometimes, which is scary too.
Well, I think there's nothing wrong with that.
They enact an ecstatic decay, starting from their tailbones, moving up and out. No, yeah. It's just, I don't know. It's good. It adds. It's like, because I'm trying to, I guess, understand why this happened and what really happened. And this is also my curiosity in this. I think is also like a byproduct of sort of surviving the last 4 years under the Trump administration through no choice and, like, having to abide by a complete psychopath. You can be mad and then but then you just have to live every day. And then, so it's like the 4 years of just being where we've been. It's made me, like, want to understand him a little bit more. But just, I'm like, what? How could someone be like this? And so I see a little bit of a connection there. And what you said about the way Carl Andre looks, and, like, he looks like Papa Smurf or whatever, which is hysterical. But it makes me think of, like, when people call Trump, like, Cheeto, whatever, orange, something. When it's just like someone is just so evil that we're, like, making fun of the way they look, which is just like. John slithers toward the stage and back to his chair as he speaks.
I think it's also like, what can we do? You know, I think that even with with, this president. I'm like, I hate saying it.
I know, yeah.
Actually, but there's like whiteness all over all this too, because it's, I think also like, as a person of color and like coming from a kind of lower income background, I think for me it's a lot about control, and it's a lot about like what is within your control and out of your control, and I feel that like ever since I was a kid, even with like politics and stuff like this, like there was always this kind of like difficulty around it, because it's this feeling like no matter what happens, I'm screwed, or like the people that I am close to, my relatives and stuff like this, is like we're screwed, and so it's like it could be worse for us with this person, but it's like it's just gonna be just as bad with this other person.
Yeah.
And so I think that for right now, it just kind of feels like the vantage point. It's like I'm always looking up at like these things that are happening on Mount Olympus somehow, and all I can do is like critique and say like, oh, what an idiot, or like, how dumb is that? But then I guess for me, what I always think about is like, that person has a whole life and lives their day the same 24 hours that I live, in a very different way. And the people who they encounter, I'm just like, are those people just as much to blame as the person themselves? Like I think that like Trump has this whole world around him, this whole group around him that like supports that shit. That it's just really scary. I think.
Torso behaviors. And his art, but also the people around him that hold him up. Because I originally encountered him because he was shown at a major museum. So I'm so curious about like what those people say to themselves, those curators, what they say to each other, how they communicate with him. And is it like this crazy game of avoidance? I've been thinking about like, if I were him, let's say if I were him and she really did jump, or she really did fall, like I really didn't push her, I would have basically dedicated the rest of my life and my career. I don't know, maybe there is, I haven't really looked into his body of work that closely, but there's no acknowledgement of this event, I don't think. Significant other fell out of a fucking window to her death in an argument.
33 stories, right?
33 stories. What kind of effect did it actually have on him? On
or
his...
even that phone call to the 911. I think that's also very telling of like.
They stare into the camera. I'm an artist. She's an artist. We got in. He goes into.
I know, right?
It's so weird.
And I feel like that's also where like. I mean, I wonder about this too. It's like, is minimalism a choice? It's like, is that an artistic choice, or is that the way that he perceives the world, or something? That I'm like, is in that conversation, is he being a minimalist? And so he's like diminishing the complexity of this moment. It's like down to like its parts.
I know. In my like Judge Judy version of all of this, it's just too clear. It's just too clear. Minimalism, like, of course you're a murderer.
I'm like, I haven't killed anybody, and I, I'm like, it's not that hard to do, like, like you can like not do that, but like,
that's amazing. You know what? I feel like we should end on that note.
That's pretty good, I guess. Wise words.
Wise words. Lights fade to black.